Welcome to Let Your Light Shine, the podcast where we illuminate the path to your best self. I'm your host, Joseline Hardrick, and I'm so excited to have you join us on this journey of empowerment and self-discovery. Today, and in each episode, we'll dive deep into the themes inspired by the book, Let Your Light Shine, Unleashing Your Inner Glow through essential self-care practices for empowered women. This podcast is for anyone seeking to cultivate their inner glow, embrace their power, and truly let their light shine. In our conversations, we'll explore different topics that resonate with women and girls from all walks of life. We'll discuss the SHINE method, practical and transformative self-care practices like sleep, proper hydration, tuning into our intuition, and nourishing our bodies while remaining fully engaged. But that's not all. We'll also delve into cultivating joy through hobbies, practicing grace, forgiveness, and engaging in activities that make our souls light up. Each episode features incredible women who share their stories, wisdoms, and insights. They're entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, mothers, daughters, all shining examples of how embracing these practices can lead to a fulfilled and empowered life. So whether you're looking to ignite a new spark in your life or fan the flames of an existing one, Let Your Light Shine is here to guide and inspire you. Remember, for more resources and information, you can always visit lightshinebook.com. Let's get started and explore together how we can all let our light shine brighter. Join me, Joseline Hardrick, in this empowering journey. Here's to letting our lights shine together. And now, let's dive in to today's episode. Hi, it's Jocelyn Hardrick, and we're here for another episode of Let Your Light Shine, the podcast. I have another great guest I'm going to pass the mic to, Joanne Karagnara. Joanne and I go way
Way
back to elementary school, y'all, in
back.
Brooklyn, New York. We're both Haitian kids trying to find our way in an American school in Brooklyn. And we recently reconnected as adults, and we're in the same, part of the country now again. And, on the other side of motherhood, businesses, career success, marriages, just all kinds of things. But let me let you know about Joanne. She's a realtor with eXp Realty and is your dedicated real estate partner. She has a heartfelt commitment to exceptional service and a positive impact in our community. 10% of her profits or her earnings go to nonprofits, and she'll guide you in buying, selling, investing, consulting, and more. And she wants you to benefit from her buyer knowledge, finding your dream home stress free. And as a seller rep, she'll handle your proper sale with utmost care and precision and maximize your return. If you're navigating real estate investment, she'll identify lucrative opportunities for you. And if you're a property owner, you can trust her for efficient management. If you're looking for consulting, she's here to provide personalized guidance. So choose Joanne with eXp Realty, and together you can make a difference. We're going to have her contact information in the show notes. But actually, what connected Joanne and I was her work in the nonprofit realm. And she also has done all this other work. She's a trained nurse and had a long career in research for pharmaceutical companies. So we're going to hear from Joanne in a minute. Hey, Joanne.
Hey, Jocelyn. Thank you so much for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for making time to be on the podcast. It's so exciting to me because, I tell people I have friends from middle school and they're shocked. But I'm like, hey, I've reconnected with my best friend from elementary school. Do you remember when we used to like go to each other's homes? We'd help each other with chores. so we can go play?
Absolutely, and we were friends from kindergarten to 5th grade, like, the entire 6 years we were in the same classes, and just really, this morning, I was listening to Proverbs, and there's a verse in there that says, "Iron sharpens iron," and even then, we were sharpening each other. So, yeah, it's so amazing that years later, we're able to be here and still sharpening each other.
Absolutely. And we're doing a lot of the same thing, right? We have nonprofits, we're in sales and entrepreneurship. We believe in giving back to the community. And man, one thing I remember about you, you were a fighter. I was so scared, but someone said something to you, you were like, nope. Or someone came, stepped at you, you were going to defend yourself. You were always a fighter. Do you remember that?
You know, over the years, I think that, and this is a good segue into the book. Over the years, I think that my voice got quieter and
Mhm.
quieter. You know, the more challenged I got, the less vocal I got, you know. However, recently, I've definitely found my voice back. And one thing I would say that remained consistent throughout the years is I'll speak up for someone else. Right. But it's kind of harder when it comes to me and defending myself, finding my value and realizing why it was important to defend myself, learning how to defend myself and speak up for myself and not be disrespectful in the process. Right. Just say, hey, this is what matters to me. You know, in your book, you talk about boundaries, setting those boundaries, doing so in a way that others are not offended, but still respecting myself as a person and the things that I need. Right. So that took years, years to learn and cultivate. Yeah.
Wow. And then, one of the things I realized, especially in my research and in my own journey, is we're our true selves when we're kids. And then society tells us, nope, you can't do that. Don't be like that. Like I was very outspoken, but I was always afraid to like physically defend myself and fight back. And I envied you because I'm like, you're not stepping to Joanne and not, catching those hands. Now, obviously, as we get older, we realize that's not the way, but that's interesting that, we both went through that same journey that we started to quiet our voice because society says you can't do that, don't say that, do that. And then we have to rediscover as adults how to do that. But I want to let you know that's not a bad thing. I was not throwing shade at you. I used to envy you because I thought you were so brave and courageous, and I wish I could be that way.
I love going back and hearing stories from when I was younger because everyone always has a perspective, you know? So I do appreciate that. Yeah, it was after elementary school, things got very murky very quickly. And, you know, I like to think of it this way. We had three things working against us at the time. We were women, young ladies, Black young ladies of immigrant parents. Okay. And then we were in this gifted and talented program, right? Or we considered the top of our class, yet we were still faced with so much opposition, right? What do you know? You know, it's like when people meet you, they they make a judgment of who you are within 7 seconds. They haven't spoken to you, they haven't heard you speak. They look at you and they think automatically, oh, she's this way or that way, or whatever the case may be. And when you are Black, you, how do you dictate that, right? It's automatic. It's an automatic bias or whatever thought process they have. And so fighting that or battling that, not even knowing what you're fighting or battling, not even knowing, you know, what are the obstacles that are keeping them from getting to know me. I don't know what prejudices they had or experiences that they had to make them feel this way about me. But within 7 seconds of meeting me, this is, you know, you've already made a judgment of who I am. And so fighting that over the years, fighting those stereotypes over the years, and still trying to be a solid person, it can be challenging. And it's funny because we talk about our voice. Sometimes when you do speak up, it may be regarded in one way when you look a certain way, right? And so I can say the same thing as Jennifer, and Jennifer was brave and I was aggressive, right? Or Jennifer was assertive and I was, you know, coming on too strong. We could have said the same exact thing, right? And it's perceived completely differently. So yeah, over the years, I've learned to kind of tailor the way that I speak to others, right? But like I said, as of late, finding that voice has been of the utmost importance and not caring what people have to say about it or how they feel about it. That matters too. Now, again, not isolating anyone, right? Not wanting to make anyone feel uncomfortable in any way, but still being able to voice the things that matter to us without shame or reproach. Yeah.
Yeah, that you said so many things. One other thing I want to mention, because you said child of immigrants, but I want to be clear, we're child of Haitian immigrants. And we were growing up in the 80s and 90s, AIDS
Mhm.
epidemic, lots of people were fleeing the dictatorship like our parents were, and we became scapegoats as Haitians. And so we weren't just bullied just from general bullying. It was very specific bullying about being Haitian.
Oh, yes.
And that's why I thought you were so brave, because I always tried to shrink about that, because I could, I had two older sisters and I watched them be bullied, and we were jumped and we were spit at and we were called all kinds of names. I mean, it was some serious stuff. And people now don't really get it, because if you weren't there, you don't remember AIDS being this very deadly disease that was literally killing thousands of people. And we were blamed for it unjustly, incorrectly, but that's what was going on. And so I talk about that in my book as well. My mom and her journey as a Black woman immigrant, coming here and having to deal with what you're saying. Because remember, in Haiti, the president is Black. Every president has been Black. They've had women presidents, the bankers. Everywhere you went, people look like you. The people who are hurting you and the people who are helping you, right? So they
Mhm.
had a different sense of like being Black and what that meant. And of course, they came to the United States and it's like, whoa, this is very different. And so we were just dealing with all those dynamics, and but we made it, and we made it to the other side, and we're both ushering young people to hopefully learn from what we learn and be at a further place than when we were when we started. And so let's talk about what you've been up to, because I know when we caught up for lunch, it was like, whoa, we had what, 30 years to catch up on. So you're doing realty now. That sounds great. And then you were used to be doing it with other things, and you have some international businesses. So tell us about what you're up to.
Yeah, so I'm a real estate agent. I got my license last year, but I've been doing real estate for like the last 8 years, mostly learning, right? A lot of learning, a lot of education. So I did a course called Fortune Builders. For those that are in the real estate space, they know who that is, Dan Merrill. So it's a great course. It was a great course. It's a mastery program. And that's where I really learned a lot about investing and real estate. And so they do encourage that you get your licenses, like get your license somewhere within the field, right? Mortgage loan officer, real estate agent, whatever the case may be. And chose real estate agent. Now it came full circle because years ago I used to sell timeshare in Florida, in Orlando, right? And at that time, I wanted to pursue my real estate license. And instead, I went into nursing. So I do have my license as a practical nurse, and I also have my license as a real estate agent. I got my license as a nurse about 12 years ago or so, and has been working in the clinical research space for the majority of that time. It's funny because my mom had been telling me for years, just go get that nursing, go get that nursing. And I'm like, I don't want to be a nurse. I actually was doing accounting work prior to that. So I wanted to be an accountant. I wanted to go back to school, become an accountant. And this was around 2008. The market crashed, kind of reminiscent of times right now. I'm not saying the market is going to crash, but the air feels similar, right? It started getting tight and money started getting tight and inflation was crazy and interest rates were crazy and people were feeling the financial pinch at that time. And so I was working for a manufacturing company doing their bookkeeping. I was an executive assistant for them and doing their bookkeeping. And they said, yeah, we're shutting down and only a few people are staying on staff. I got laid off. And it was like, what do I do now? My mom said, I told you, go to that nursing, get that nursing. So I did. And it was the best thing I could have done. Seriously, it's opened all kind of doors for me, and because of that, I've been able to travel internationally. I've been able to go abroad and train with other medical providers, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ecuador. So it's been amazing doing clinical research in those places. And I've been also fortunate enough to work within different roles in the clinical research space. I've worked for clinics as and institutions, as well as the sponsor, the biopharmaceutical company itself. So I've definitely learned a lot along the way, learned a lot about corporate America. And then at the end of October of last year, it was like, you know what? Yeah, it's time for me to do this for myself. So I quit my six-figure job and decided to do this real estate journey and take it full on. So diving deep into that.
Wow, that is such a great story. And like you said, we were gifted students earlier, and it's showing up now in the work we do, right? Because I went to law school, and we're like, this is great. Let me do something else. And then it's like, well, we're in these spaces where people like they feel like they've arrived, and we're like, yeah, I did that. Now let's do something else. And we got to learn to kind of trust ourselves, and that's really what it requires. Because I've done sales, so I know sales is not easy. Research, you have to recruit people, right? You have to manage expectations. So you've done some really high level work. So I'm excited about your real estate journey, and she's over here trying to recruit me. I'm still thinking about it. I told my hubby because I said all I gotta do is take the test. So I'm still thinking about it. I think it's gonna be the next thing on my list because I'm definitely into real estate investment and seeing it as a path to wealth.
As we come to the close of another enlightening episode of Let Your Light Shine, I want to thank you sincerely for joining us today. It's been a true joy and privilege to share this space with you and our inspiring guest. Before we part ways, I'd like to leave you with a small nugget of wisdom to carry with you. Remember, the light you hold within is a beacon of hope, strength, and beauty. It's uniquely yours, and when you let it shine, you not only illuminate your own path, but also light the path of others. If you've been inspired by our conversation today, I would encourage you to explore more at lightshinebook.com, where you can find additional resources and support on your journey to unleashing your inner glow. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who might also benefit from its message. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode of Let Your Light Shine. As we say goodbye for now, remember that every day is an opportunity to embrace your power, cultivate joy, and most importantly, let your light shine. Until next time, I'm Joseline Jean-Louis Hardrick, wishing you peace, love, and light. Thank you for listening, and keep shining bright.